We're back. Welcome to my first ever Fortnite Creative tutorial. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how real estate and Fortnite Creative works. So stay tuned for the whole thing. And without further ado, let's get it started. Okay, so this is what the mechanics is supposed to do. Like, I don't have any gold right now. So if I try to purchase a house right here, it's going to tell me not enough gold on my screen. So if I come over here and get some gold, this only requires me to get 10. I have 500. And I should have a key. The door is unlocked right now. And if I want to lock it, do it. It's locked. And only the person with this key is allowed back in. And all right, let me show you how this mechanic works. So this is how I set them up. This is how I place them. And you can see here, they're invisible when you play the map, but you can see how I place them. There's 2 buttons in there, 1 button in here. I made copies of them and I brought them to the front just to show you the settings that I have. Let's start with buying the house. So to purchase a house, you're going to need 4 devices. You're going to need 1 button, 1 conditional button, 1 item granter, and 1 HUD message device. Let me show you all of the settings that I have and the ones that are important. The ones that are really important here, you need for it when you interact with it to transmit on 1 and to disable on 2. These are the 2 most important ones. Everything else, you can just do it as you please. For the conditional button, all of the ones that are important, you can choose the amount of keys required. I have right now 10. So you need 10 gold in order to purchase the house and to disable after use, which means if somebody buys the house, you cannot use this button anymore. And to activate on 1, you're grabbing that from the button. And if it's valid, if it has 10 gold, it transmits on 2. And if you don't have 10 gold, it transmits on 7. So as you can see here, this disables on 2. So if all the checks are valid, it should disable this button as well. And this HUD message device is for when they don't have enough gold to show on their screen. And it says here, not enough gold. It can only be to the triggering player. So this one is very important. You have to have this off here because you don't want this to start right after the game starts, to display when the game starts. I have it for 3 seconds here. I have red outline for the textile. I don't have any sounds. And to place it on the center right, so you can see that it places literally like on the map, like around the map area on the HUD. And I have it to show when receiving from 7. And as you can see here on the conditional button, if you don't have enough gold, you send it on 7. And for the item granter, first and foremost, you have to grab this key card here, and then you have to drop it in. It will consume it. For some reason, Creative is not showing the card for the item granter, but the settings that you need to keep all your your items after it grants. This is very important right here. I don't want it to be any extra ammos. It's just a key card. So you have it to grant when you receive from 2, and if it is granted indeed, you have it on 6. This is very important here, and that's for later. So when receiving from 2, that's because it activated here. So you will get a key card. The reason why it's important to have the item granter to trigger on channel 6 when it grants, it's because right here, the lock device, it unlocks the house when you receive from 6. We'll get to the lock part in just a second, but that's why it's very important if you have the item granted to you to unlock the house. Before we continue, this is for the people that don't know how conditional buttons work. You can drop any item in front of it to decide what kind of item the conditional button requires for you to unlock. Anyways, let's keep going. Now let's get to the lock and unlock aspect of the mechanic. And all you're gonna need is just another button, another conditional button, and if you like, a billboard. To lock the house, you need the button, and this is very important here. It needs to be disabled at game start. And I have it not visible because you see it's by the door. All right, so you need it to enable from 6. That's when you get it, the item, the key card granted to you. And disable at 4. And when interact with, you need to transmit on 3. Because here on 3, that's how the conditional button is going to activate. Anyways, another thing that is important here for this conditional button is that you don't want it to consume the item. This is very important here. The first conditional button, it consumes the gold. This one here, you don't want it to consume the card. You want the person to keep their card. Anyways, so when you activate from 3, which is from the button, and if you have the key card, it should activate on 4. So you want to disable this conditional button. And you want this here to also be disabled. So you also have it on 4. And you want to enable this one. That's why I have it here, enable on 4. Anyways, Here, you're going to activate on 5, which means this button here, that's to unlock the house, by the way. It's gonna, when you interact with it, it's gonna transmit on 5. And the same thing here for this button. You don't want it to consume the item. This is very important. All right, and the rest you can just copy here the settings. Enable on 4, disable on 6. When interacted with, transmit on 6. And here I'm gonna do this one more time so you can see it. And these are all the channel settings that you need for the conditional buttons. The last part, this is if you need, you have a keyboard here with the lock. I will put a link for the emoji website that you can copy and paste. But for things like this to work, it needs to be on Burbank, the text font. So I have the text visible on 4 and hidden on 6. That's pretty much lock and unlock. And I have the same thing here for the unlock, 6 and 4, flipped this time. But this is very important here. You have to put this to be disabled, you know, so you put none here, because you don't want both of them to be showing at the same time. So I have it on here just to show you that this billboard exists, but this is very important. This one needs to be none. All we have left to do now is just to test the mechanic, and we're gonna spawn into the game without any gold. We're gonna try to buy the house here without any gold. It doesn't let us. We're gonna try to unlock the house. Doesn't even have that option. Remember, those buttons are disabled. Anyways, let's get some gold here. I have 500. If I buy the house, I should have 490, and I do. And I have the key card now to come in. The house unlocks by itself as soon as you buy it, and I can use the key card to lock and unlock. And very important here, the mechanics are made so that if you don't have this key card in your inventory, you will not be able to come back in. All right, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. And that's it for today's video. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, let me know with the like. Subscribe for more content like this. And I'll see you on the next one.